You'll notice something's missing in this picture. No rain in the rain gauge. The forecast was calling for 2 to 3 inches of rain. Apparently it's wrong. Good afternoon, welcome back to Rolling Hills Farm. Dave here. It is a dry year so far, believe it or not. There's been rain all around the Midwest, but not a lot here, and we're starting to look hard at what may be a low hay season, low hay tonnage, and it's got us a little bit concerned. So this hay field this time of year should be quite a bit taller than what you're seeing here. You look down and it's really not impressive. There's spots where the hay is a little taller. This is knee high, but there's a lot more wildflower here and a lot thinner grass than we're used to, and that's got us a little bit concerned. This year is shaping up to be a lot like 2023, which was a drought year. Our hay tonnage was pretty low that year. I was very optimistic in 23 that we were going to have a bumper crop, and I was filming out here, and we ended up being disappointed. Let's take a look. But I think we're going to get some pretty good volume to start with. I mean, we won't really know until we bale it how much is out here. Part of the field is not too bad until you get up on these hilltops, and then they're just burnt dry. And I'm seeing a consistent pattern here, down here in the low part of the field. The grass and even the timothy really tall. But then when you get out onto the hilltops, a lot more daisies, short and clearly drought stressed out of these hilltops. There's actual sections out here that are just burned brown. Like in 23, when you get up to the thin parts of the field, up on the higher spots, you can you can see right down to the ground. In spots there's almost dirt showing, and again an indication of hay production a little lower than you want is all the wildflowers. I mean, this area looks like it hasn't been replanted in 20 years, when in fact it was just planted a few years ago, and was pretty heavily fertilized last year and the year before. And by the way, hay stocks, well, that's only half the equation. Pasture is every bit as important as the hay fields, and you can tell as I'm walking here, this pasture's been hit hard. It's mid-June, and the cows have pretty much depleted the main two pastures. You see they're over in that paddock kind of watching me. I think they're hoping I'm going to let them into a new pasture, because this one is down to the point where they need to move. You can see they've worked around these all these field stones, and they've cropped the tastiest grass off from out here, although they're not yelling at me, so they can't be hungry. If they were hungry, they'd be making a ruckus asking me to move them. I think mostly they're just annoyed by the bot flies. You can see the flies up on their backs when they're out away from, well, that's Anita, she's the noisy one. When they're, you see those big bot flies up on their back, boy, those things bite. And when they're out here in the pasture, there's really no protection from flies. They hope for a breeze. We'll actually be moving the cows tomorrow back into the first round of paddocks that we had them in at the beginning of the month, because, well, there's really nothing much here that's yielding what they need to keep putting on weight to keep feeding those calves. And the problem is not just pastures and hay fields. Our oats, which were planted on time, are short and spotty. Look at the skips, almost like the seeder was plugged, which it wasn't. I'm just not sure if it's because of the dry conditions. This oat field is really thin. No weeds, but not as much oats as we want. So this field was planted a little earlier. This is the first field we planted, and it's looking better. Still short though. Well, here's some good news. Overnight, a ½ inch of rain. So that'll bring June a little closer to normal, but June is still 30% behind the average rainfall. May was almost 40% behind average rainfall. And that follows a winter snowfall that was 50% below a typical winter. You can see this rain is quickly soaked in. There's no puddles at all. Although there is rain in the forecast for later this week, it probably comes too late for this year's first crop hay. Most of that growing would have already happened in late May. But it'll come in time to help us with second crop, hopefully. Of course, the really good news is we've got a lot of hay left over from last year. Record production last year, and we've got over 100 round bales out here in the bale yard that we never used this past winter. We didn't need, and they're in good shape. Most of them are net wrapped. In fact, I think all the bales we have left are net wrapped, pretty high quality. These will be the first bales we'll feed this fall when we get ready to start feeding hay again. And this should give us plenty of hay to get through the coming year, even if we end up being short hay tonnage from a typical year. While I'm back here, we've been challenged by our good friends at Trinity Dairy, which is a great YouTube channel that you should check out if you get an opportunity. And they've challenged us with what's called the Plow Bottom Challenge. Okay, we're one of those farms that still uses old-time moldboard plows, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to put up a video of a moldboard plow in action so you know what I'm talking about here. So the Plow Bottom Challenge is just what it sounds like. How many plow bottoms, moldboard plows, do you have on your farm? And for the record, Trinity Dairy came up with like 28 bottoms, which is amazing. And now Alan and Jen, I will tell you, there's no way we have 28 plows here on Rolling Hills Farm. But first off, our big plow, big for us anyway, our F145H John Deere. And so this is a plow bottom, and that is a plow bottom. It's a 4-bottom plow. So there we go. There's 4 bottoms. Now, hidden in the weeds that sometimes I forget about is another plow. And this is what we refer to as our rock plow. When a field is just so rocky, we don't want to take the nice semi-mount John Deere plow. We've got our trailer type International plow, and it is also a 4-bottom, kind of buried in the weeds. There's number 2, number 3, and did I miss one? Oh no, there's number 4 right there. So there's 8 plows on Rolling Hills Farm, but we're not done. I have a top secret supply that every farm has that's going to take some hiking, but I'll show it to you now. So this is pretty deep in the woods. I don't have any idea, although there's a rock pile there, how they got this back in here. I suppose these trees weren't so big. But look at this beauty. It is a 2-bottom fast hitch, international fast hitch mount plow that appears to be all intact. Steel wheel. Everything's here. The coulters, but it was on this place, and I don't own anything with a fast hitch, so I can't use it, and getting it out of here would be a lot more work than I'm willing to put in for an old international plow. So there's number 9 and number 10. 10 bottoms. All right, here's a question for the Plow Bottom challenge. Judges, do chisel plows count? We've got this nice plow and shank, and I got a bar out there with about 12 more on. Chisel plow, judges, no chisel plows. All right. So we lost the Plow Bottom challenge, but it was at least fun for a minute. Well, thanks for watching. We're going to be getting equipment off this row and out of our sheds in the coming days, and we'll get ready for haying season. The only really way to tell for sure what kind of a haying season it's going to be is to start mowing, and we've got a lot of maintenance to do before we can start mowing. So I'm going to get to work. We'll let you know how that goes, and hopefully we'll be baling hay very soon. The things you do for a YouTube challenge. I wonder if there's any bears out here. I can hear civilization.